Welcome back to another episode of the Real Teachers of Atlanta. Today, we are going to be talking about health and wellness, treating our bodies right.
We got the queens in the house, y'all. Real Teachers of Atlanta.
Hi, I'm Mrs. P. Smith, the Mama Bear at school, your favorite ELA and SPED teacher, but always teaching my students about business.
I'm Miss Rose, commonly known as the snarky teacher, always ready with the good candy. The kids say I'm their favorite math teacher.
After school, it's lights, camera, action. During school hours, it's Miss Carter, the life science teacher saving lives.
We got the queens in the house, y'all. Real Teachers of Atlanta.
I'm Nikki.
I'm Joya.
And I'm Ty.
All right. So, Ty, let's start with you. What are you doing to keep yourself together, healthy, wealthy, wise?
Okay. First, we could start off with, I drink a little bit of wine.
Same.
So, that has helped me on my health journey.
Lord.
Okay. Listen.
No, but I do, but for real, I do drink wine. But walking has been very beneficial for being healthy, I guess you can say. And some light meditation. I love waking up in the morning and putting on the meditation music. Even if I'm not sitting there meditating, that's something I like to play in my background while I'm taking showers, while I'm just getting dressed for work.
Okay. So I get up super, super early and go for a walk, same thing. And then I kind of give myself like 30 minutes of same like meditation, prayer time, just to kind of chill first and then start my day. Because I feel like, I want to be awake and alert for the kids so I can get my own kids up. But I feel like it's important to have that moment by myself, if that makes sense. What about you, Joy? What you doing?
I walk. I like to meditate. I'm not really a big writer. People journal. I don't really do a lot of journaling, but I do try to do like yoga, meditation. I think for me, my self-care is all throughout the day. For me, I like to play the meditation music in the classroom for the kids. I listen to it in the car. I think it's a lifestyle. It's not really something that, you just kind of just pick up and then put back down.
Right.
Mental health is very important.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I like that you're doing it throughout the day as well. Like I know for me, like one of the things I like to do, I like to have my coffee in the morning. I'm not going to start the day without it. It just is what it is. But, and I also find like putting myself together kind of boosts my mood a little bit. So like when you have those days when you just wake up, you don't feel like it, I still like to, I don't know, just a little something, even if it's a mascara, just make myself feel like a little bit more put together.
I was going to say that, sometimes, it could be a new lipstick. It could be just a splash of mascara. That'll give you that self-confidence that you need for yourself to get you throughout the day. I, like Joy said, there's certain things that she likes to do throughout the day. Now, when I'm in the classroom, I do like to play some light jazz for my students. It's soothing. They tend to work better when you have some meditation or some soothing music in the background. So I'm not a coffee drinker, but I do like tea. However, I was just feeling a little Starbucks yesterday, so I called my daughter.
You got something from Starbucks?
Girl,
What did you get?
I need to know about this. What'd you get?
So, I like drinking chai latte.
Yeah.
So I called my daughter and I was like, hey, I'm at Starbucks,
I know she was tickled.
Right,
You never drink Starbucks.
because she's rich.
Yeah, mommy rich, absolutely.
She's very rich. She's
Mommy
very
rich.
rich. She's very bougie. So she likes, she has a Starbucks cup at home that was made.
Okay.
So anyway, she tells me to get a vanilla, I can't remember.
A vanilla bean latte or frappuccino? Okay.
Okay.
And I said, that's a coffee. She said, Mom, you're not going to taste the coffee. I'm telling you, you're going to like it. And they're going to put foam or something on top.
Yeah, like a
which
whipped
was
cream, yeah.
But it was too much whipped cream for me.
It's very.
Was it the
aren't
whipped
they
cream
milky?
that turned you off? It is.
It's milky, right?
I think that may have been it. It was just too much going on. You got the ice and you got the whipped.
It's like a slushy almost.
Yes.
It wasn't slushy. It was just, I don't know.
It was on
It's
ice?
too many variants. Huh?
I don't know.
You should just stick with the tea.
Yeah,
maybe.
stick with your tea.
Just
Which
stick with your
Starbucks has
tea.
good teas. Like they have a good medicine ball tea that I
Yeah,
like.
they're not
Well,
really
you
known for
know,
their
They're
but they
not,
do.
but
Their
they do
medicine
have
ball teas
them.
are good,
Yeah,
but
like
they're
that.
really
I got so many teas at home for free. Like what?
Fair.
if you're a coffee drinker, then Starbucks is your thing.
You know what? I love Starbucks. Like I collect the cups and everything, but
Yeah.
I actually drink it's called Cafe Bustelo coffee. That's what it's an espresso, but I like it.
Sound a little bougie.
Is it a Spanish coffee?
Yeah.
Okay, I kind of
Well, it's where'd I get it from? I actually started drinking it when we went to the DR.
Okay.
And I found a way to get it here, and I started ordering it. And then next thing I know, Publix had it, and so I buy it in boxes. I can't get enough, but like I love it. But I make it at home.
What you got against Publix?
Huh?
Oh, I thought you were about to say something about Publix.
Oh, you know, I'm a
Publix
Publix
high. I love me some
advocate.
Publix.
I'm an advocate for Publix.
I'm gonna spend that money.
I'm just, you know what? This is another self-care tip.
Mm-hmm.
Publix, you go in Publix, you don't have to look for anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Teachers, if you're not a person that likes to cook, Publix is your place.
Yes.
If you had a long day from school, you're stressed out, you're tired, you can go in Publix. Hey, where are the cereal? They're gonna walk you to the cereal aisle. They're not gonna point like most grocery stores. I'm not going to mention.
Okay. We won't mention
and want you to figure out the aisle yourself. They're gonna take you to it, and they're gonna, you know, it's just like you know.
Yes,
it's ma'am.
So the coffee.
Okay, let me get back.
Let's get back to the coffee. Free advertisement.
I just can't see myself. It was this tall for $5. I just can't, you know. But a lot of teachers gotta have that Starbucks because that makes them feel a certain way in the morning. So a lot of coffee is self-care for a lot of teachers.
It is. I think it's even bigger than like teachers. I feel like, you know, I can just as women, I enjoy like the things that make me happy. I want just something that is all for me. That's something like Joy used to say stuff like that all the time. Like, what's for you? What are you doing for you? And I think, you know, we've talked about how I kind of was doing all this stuff, but wasn't really getting anywhere for a while. And I really started honing into the things that bring me joy.
Right.
And I feel like that has really been pivotal for me. Like through all the years, you know, in the classroom, you know, y'all know I went through it. But the biggest thing was starting to care about me and just finding those little blips in time throughout the day, or the things that just bring me joy, whether it was waking up early just to steal time for myself, the coffee, going to get anything, or Chick-fil-A. Like one of the things I enjoy that my kids don't know is I will get up and go to the Chick-fil-A or to Dunkin' and I will eat in the car. And just sit there, and I'm happy because I'm by myself. Nobody's calling mommy, wife, the dog looking for me, nothing. It's just, I feel like those are things that you need. And we're so busy doing so many other things and wearing hats, so many other hats. Like when you're in school, you're somebody's, your auntie, your teacher, you wear all these hats, plus your personal hats. And what I feel like gets missed is, what are you doing for yourself to kind of sew back into you? So I kind of feel like that's your time to kind of be bougie and just do it. Like give yourself what you need. I feel like that's important to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of schools are starting to implement these self-care rooms. But the problem is that teachers don't have the time to use them. So what other tips would you give teachers to use for their self-care at home? Or maybe something that they can do before school, throughout the school day? Because I think teachers neglect themselves a lot.
One, I would say take some things off your plate that you can. So I know it is funny that we're having this conversation. So recently, you know, a lot of teachers have been kind of saying, you know, this conversation is always happening. We're overworked, underpaid, we're tired, we're exhausted. And really for a lot of teachers, it's early in the school year for a lot, right? For parts of the country. And so stealing some of your time back and being okay with, you know, what we've been dubbing like the respectfully no, just saying, hey, I'm not going to do this extra thing, and kind of cutting it off and saying, I'm not going to be able to do this extra thing for school because that time is for me, and like really valuing your personal time and separating school from personal and like cutting it off. I think that's That would be my suggestion, is stop saying yes to everything.
Okay. Ty?
Because I know we have talked about teachers, in their mental health in a previous episode, and it's very important because when you're stressed out, your family notices it. It's just your students even notice it. It's just and it's not a good feeling to be just overwhelmed and stressed out. Like we're all saying, you do need to take time out for yourself. So maybe for the classroom, you can have your students so they can have a quieter introduction, because I know sometimes, some teachers may be a little unorganized. So the first thing is to have some type of class organization.
Yes.
Because that will eliminate a lot of your stress if you have an organization and your kids know when they come in your classroom what the flow is. For me, I have most time my students, they're going to know she's going to have a journal entry. So automatically they know to come in, pick up their journal, look at the board or Google Classroom, see what I'm responding to, because this helps them to relax. It gives me time to be like, okay, they are here. Woosah. It gives us a little bit of time before we get it, and get into whatever we got going on for that day. So the biggest thing again is make sure that you have classroom. That's part of classroom management, is to be organized. Have that meditation or that jazz, that light music for your students. So for you, I mean, I have a salt lamp. You have salt lamps. You can kind of set the mood. I mean, you do want to set a mood for your classroom,
you really do.
because you do want it to be comfortable. When people come into my room, that's the first thing they say. It's comfortable. You got your salt lamp. You got your music. Make sure it smells good.
It's gonna start out that way. But
that's the intention, yes. But
I don't know if it's
I don't know if it's gonna stay that way, but
I cannot, for my allergies, I don't do a whole lot of smells, but I love a great smell. So, can't really have candles in classroom, but you can have some type of scent that you can offer in your class. So those are some of my classroom tips.
I think that teachers have to work smarter, not harder.
Absolutely.
Your warm-up is your self-care. It's the time for you to take a break. So if you do a 15-minute warm-up and your standard in the classroom is to be quiet, that's for you. You have to build in time. Yes. If it's independent work, that's your self-care for them not to, of course, if kids have questions, they can ask you, but teaching bell to bell, and
cannot do it.
We've had teachers, or we've known teachers to teach from the time the bell rings to the time. And that's just, to me, that's a lot. Because if you're doing that, 6 hours out of the day, you're going to burn yourself out. So I think a lot of times teachers think that they have to do so much. Yes, the kids have standards. Yes, they have whatever learning standards that they have. They have to pass certain tests. They have to learn. But you're not a robot and you're not a machine. Put the 15 minutes, let them do Book It.
Something.
Let them do Ed Puzzle.
Yeah.
Let them do those things on their own. And you sit off to the side and you catch your breath. And if you have a co-teacher, please use your co-teacher. Go to the bathroom, take a minute. If you need to take a walk, those are things you have to work smarter and not harder, because the county is not going to care about your self-care. No. You have to take control over your life.
So I think that's a good point that you just made. The county isn't going to care, or they're not going to be responsible for it. But I think that in the workplace, right? Because the school that's where students go to learn, but that's where teachers go to work. That is your workplace, right? And so let's just call it what it is.
Right.
I think you make a good point that right now there's such a heavy focus, and there has been since just before COVID, where SEL, but it's been focused solely on students. And I think that the miss is teachers, how do you teach something? How do you teach students, that social emotional learning when you don't experience that for yourself? So there's not, where does that present itself, like within the classroom or within in your work
You mean
environment.
for teachers?
Yeah, I think there should be some sort of. I think that we need that.
Well, yeah, that's why so many teachers are quitting.
Right. But I'm
Yeah.
saying, like, that seems like such a simple, like, the obvious thing. If you want me to give this to students, like, how do I do that if I don't experience that?
Right.
How do I stress the importance when it's not even something that I get to value or have?
Well, I think it's up to the teacher to decide what she's going to do or he's going to do with their self-care. Because I have gotten to a point in my career, I can go to the meetings. You can give me all this stuff that I need to train for. You can give me all these things that I need to do. I have gotten to a point in my career where if I can do it, I can do it. And if I can't, I just can't. Like, I'm not going to burn myself out or overwork myself any longer. What I can do, I do. And what I cannot do, I don't worry about it. Are there going to be consequences? I mean, am I going to be falling out? Or I'm going to, just tell you, I couldn't do it. It's, we only have so much time in a day and we only have so much time with students.
Yeah.
I'm going to do what's important. And that's to teach.
So why do you think so many teachers don't really get or don't participate in self-care or taking care of themselves from a mental and physical
because
standpoint?
I feel like a lot of teachers may believe that or just as a whole, and we're kind of moving away from that, but as a whole, people believe that everyone else comes before you and that if you don't take care of yourself, or if you do take care of yourself, you're being selfish. And that somehow the kids or maybe the husband or somebody will be lacking. And for teachers specifically, there's so much that's required for us to do. I think a lot of teachers feel like if they don't say no, or if they don't do something that they will be reprimanded, or somehow there will be some type of punishment. But if you drop dead, you will be replaced.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not
happens all
even
the time,
a thought. So you have to be selfish. If you don't take the time for yourself, I mean, you're really going to deal with some issues health-wise, mentally. They like to push this narrative on teachers that if you don't, I don't know if I should say this. If you don't work after school, you won't be successful.
Yeah, that is something that is
insane.
Yeah.
Because who has the time to have a family? Or even if you're by yourself, to have a social life, you work 8 hours a day and you want me to work when I get home?
Yeah, that's an expectation.
It's work.
And we have believed that is something that is normal. That is not normal to do. And if someone tells you that, you can, you be respectful and say, okay, but then you have to say, okay, what can I do to still do the job and then to still care about myself? You have to be selfish as a teacher. You have to.
And not just a teacher. I have friends that have hit me up and, they have these high level positions and they are, they're stressed out that it's too much that is being required from them, of them, their time. Before school, after school, or before work, after work, even, in their at-home life, you have to take a break. You have to leave work sometimes I try to, most times at work, at work, because you have your life that you have to live. I mean, work is, you have to make your money. I get that. And a lot of teachers, just to go back what you was talking about, a lot of teachers, are job scared. Or a lot of teachers want, to be looked at and promoted. But what cost are you willing to pay to reach the goals or to be, to be job scared? What are you sacrificing? What are you willing to give up? Because you're giving up yourselves. Because teachers that are teaching bell to bell, the kids and other teachers are seeing you disgruntled. Like, because not that you are wanting to be this way, but you're tired. You're frustrated.
Yeah. But I think it's bigger than that. You touch on a lot of things that these conversations happen all the time but I feel like I feel like we're kind of talking about some things we've even talked, before in other episodes, but all of it comes to a head at what are the expectations that districts and administrators have? What are the expectations that society has on teachers? And I've run into teachers that, in different, areas of social media and in person where there's a real expectation that they manage a club, that they sponsor clubs that are before and after school. That there was a point in time where I was being asked to tutor, and I was tutoring for free 3 and 4 days out the week because I fell into that same trap.
Right.
And it is exhausting to get to work at 8:00 and not get home until 7:30. But you're not being paid. Like, we talk about it from the perspective of like being paid for the time that you're at school, right? But your contract doesn't say stay all day. It's a 24-hour contract and we're paying you. Like, we're not even making money that says I should be giving all these hours. Like,
because nobody wants to make that trip to the district. Well, we've made the trip to the district and nothing happened. That's the thing. You have to, as long as you're doing what your contract has stated for you to do, you're not hurting anybody, you're not verbally or physically abusing any child, any adult, you're doing what you're supposed to do. Like Ty said, a lot of teachers are job scared. And what's happening is that there are a lot of us that are quitting and then the children suffer. And nobody wins. No. But again, if you drop dead, they're going to replace you.
We've seen it.
And
it happens.
It happens all the time.
And don't be afraid. A group of my teacher friends, we here and there and before have taken off for a self-care day.
Yep.
It's your day.
Yeah.
Don't be scared. If you need it, take it. You're sick. Yes, you are sick. It is a sick day because you're not feeling well because you're stressed out.
That's right.
Take yourself to go get a pedicure. Take yourself to go get a manicure.
Yeah.
Take yourself to go get a body massage. Take yourself out to lunch.
Take care
Take
of
off.
yourself.
Just take off. The kids will be fine.
Okay.
They'll be fine.
Yep.
I promise you. There are some teachers that never take off.
I was going to say that. I have a friend of mine that didn't do that. Yeah.
Right.
She quit teaching and had like 3 months worth of time off that she had not taken. I was like, how do you have this much time? Like, what? But you quit. Like, she quit and left with this much time. And I'm like, that's why you quit. Because you weren't, to your point, you weren't taking care of yourself and just taking that time. You had it. You should have just used it. You might still be a great teacher, great teacher, love the kids, but she's not there now.
Man, y'all better take off.
Take off. I agree with you.
So your teacher friends taking off?
Oh, they will take off.
Yeah.
They will not be there. You come around that corner. Oh, she's not here. Oh, she's not here today.
Had everybody hot. I remember when y'all used to do that.
I wasn't upset. I was like, good for her.
I actually remember. So before I started like taking my days off, I used to be mad when folks would leave. And I'm like, y'all know they're going to split these classes. Ain't no subs.
Right.
Now I got all these kids. I always be hot.
That never would take off because I didn't want my kids to miss anything.
Yep.
They'll be fine.
And I didn't want to miss it.
And I learned they'll be fine. And there's Google Classroom. And besides, when I'm at school, some of them not doing the work anyway.
Yeah.
Just keeping it real.
So, one day it's gonna, not gonna hurt.
It's not. You're right. That's a good point. It's not. You can just take off. It'll be cool.
They will be just fine.
I don't know. I feel like there's it's a complex issue and the time needs to be allowed.
No, it ain't complex.
You don't think so? I feel like there's layers to it.
I don't think there are no.
You don't think so?
People overcomplicate things. Okay. If you are a teacher and the district has required you to do X, Y, and Z, you can still do your job without being, burnt out or stressed out. Yeah. You can. You have to say, I'm not doing this, or I'm taking time off. I'm going to build in my self-care throughout. You all are going to do independent work for the last 30 minutes of class. Don't ask me anything because I've gone over it. Unless, you have kids that really need help. Of course, you don't just tell them to go sit down. I want to make that very clear. You don't just say, get out of here.
Right.
But, if, you all, I've spent the first 60 minutes telling you what the expectation is. Close your mouth and work. Yeah. Give yourself some time to breathe. I know that sounds bad, but it's the truth.
And you don't even have to tell someone, I'm not doing it. You don't even have to say that.
No,
do what you can.
Yes, do what you can.
You don't have to verbalize anything. You get there, your lessons is planned out. Your day is planned out. If you hit it, you hit it. If you don't, you don't. why we shouldn't be explaining. I mean, if your kids are up the part and they're doing what they're supposed to do, and you're doing what you're supposed to do,
Right.
I mean, like I said again, we only have certain amount of time that we are touching a particular student. So there's no way you're going to be able to do it all in one day.
That's true.
You got to pace yourself.
That's a good point too. So how would you, for a teacher who has not been really sewing into themselves, how would you get them started on a journey to taking care of themselves and incorporating that into their day?
I think for some teachers, and this is just people in general, people have to get to a point where they experience something tragic before they say, oh, I need to get it together. Okay. Because you can talk to a person and say, hey, you don't have to do this. But I think we're all adults. So, if you go to, you come to work and you go home with a headache every day, you need to change up something. But I think with this podcast, with us giving them, tips, building in your self-care within that warm up for teachers to do for their students, taking off, saying no. But then again, just to kind of go back to it, teachers are job scared. They're afraid that, okay, well, my principal won't like me. I won't get teacher of the year. The teacher down the hall won't think I'm doing a great job. If you're doing what you're supposed to do for the kids, then that's it. We're here for the kids. That's all.
Yeah.
For me, first, get you, some rose water. Get you a bottle of wine. Can't take your wine to school. I know what you've been seeing on TV, but do not
please
take your
don't.
wine to school. That's for your afternoon. That's for when you get home.
Your at-home activity.
Your at-home activity. But you have your rose water. Makes you feel good. Smells great. But I would say teachers, be organized. Don't wait till the last minute to get lesson plans together or know what you're going to do that day, because that's very stressful. I know sometimes things happen, but if you can, try to prioritize how your day is going to look. I'm telling you, that takes away so much stress. And don't try to do it all.
Right.
Do what you can. Be very proactive with your students. You know what you need to touch. And I think a lot of teachers have great ideas. Their classroom settings look great and everything. But sometimes I think our lesson plans are so overboard that they don't reach the kids. Like, you don't have to put all these elaborate plans because it looks good. I just think that wears you out because you're trying to put so many pieces and do so many things.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But once you get to teaching, I think these are things you're going to figure out. But to sum it all up, for me, take time for yourself. That's at home too. Take some time for yourself, whatever that time looks like, whatever self-care looks like for you, because it may not be the same for you. So
yeah, I agree with that.
What do you?
I know, because I've been that person, and I feel like, when we met initially, that was something that I had to kind of learn, right? Especially when I first started teaching. That first year was tough, was really tough, because I felt like I was learning a lot. I was trying to figure things out, and I didn't really know what was going on. And I feel like I didn't have a background to even like figure anything. I didn't know anything, and I didn't know how to balance it all. So I felt very overwhelmed. So, I guess I'll say it from the perspective of if I could give myself advice from now to myself as a first year teacher, I still think I would say, figure out what makes sense to you. Kind of, I think what Ty is saying and it resonates with me, because I remember feeling unorganized because I didn't know what was coming next, because I didn't know, right? You just don't know when it's your first time. But setting those routines and like establishing a routine early and then sticking to it, even if it's awful, right? Like some routine is better than none, And to Ty's point, you've been saying the same thing, being organized, but having that routine, those pieces of time built in where the students they are doing something. Yep. But it's really a moment for you to breathe and process, because sometimes that's all you need is to breathe and process. And I wish as a first year teacher, I had that idea, had that knowledge to say, oh, you guys are going to work on this. Like, I've done what I can do. You work on this, and I can just rest. And also not standing the entire time. Like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, you have to stand the whole time you're teaching. When I started teaching, like, that was I mean, I know it should be a thing, but when I started teaching, like, that was the mentality because that's all I have been shown. But I think
good. I mean, you don't want to sit down all day, but I don't need to be over you every single. Oh, child, please no.
Yes, I agree. But I really think what Ty's saying is, I think you're hitting I mean, I feel like we're all making good points, but I feel like what you've said is the thing that resonates the most. It's when I was starting, I wish I had known. And I wish someone would have said, it's okay to say no. You do not have to join every committee. You don't have to stay late. You don't have to come early. And what you're doing is enough. I wish someone had told me that.
Somebody, a girl online made a good point, and she said people that kind of do, how did she say it? Like they work the hardest, they normally don't get promoted. Because what companies see is that, okay, you're doing all the grunt work. Like you're doing the work that we don't want to do. So why would we move you to this, next place? Do your job. But if you're trying to, you're exhausting all of this energy, nobody's going to move you to the next spot. Like that's just not how it works. That's what she said, with certain companies. So, and I think that's how it is in teaching as well, and we've talked about that with teachers that do so much work. You do get certain accolades, but that's about it.
So you don't believe in the cliche, hard work pays off?
I don't.
It pays somebody off, but it doesn't.
I don't.
Pay
I think
you
practice
off.
makes perfect, but when you neglect yourself, then, people don't really respect you.
Yeah. So the work is the work that you do for your student.
Exactly.
That is the change.
Yes. And that's it.
Yeah.
Can't kill yourself trying to make the change. Do what you can while they have you.
I like that you said that.
Leave it all in the classroom.
Yep.
And go home and get your wine.
We had a teacher friend. I wouldn't advise this at all because he taught for years, so he was a little bit more skilled,
unorthodox,
right? But I thought it was funny. He said he would teach strong Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, them kids on their own. But what was so funny is that they had one of the highest math scores.
They did,
and they learned. But that's what happened in his classroom.
Well, ladies.
Yeah.
As Joy likes to say, we got another one in the bag.
Yeah.
We want to thank you for tuning in to another great episode with the Real Teachers of Atlanta. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Until then, we are out of here. Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode and you want to see more content like this, please remember to subscribe and follow us at Real Teachers of Atlanta.
We got the queens in the house, y'all.